Women do not respect a man because of his looks, his height, his money, or his charm. Those things may attract her, but respect comes from something deeper, something far rarer in modern men. The ability to enforce your standards without fear, without hesitation, and without emotional collapse. She respects you when you do this, when you walk away the moment she crosses a line, when you stop rewarding bad behavior, when you stop tolerating disrespect disguised as attitude, when you stop repeating yourself after she ignores the first boundary. The truth is simple. She respects the man who is willing to lose her rather than lose himself. A man who keeps teaching her how to treat him through silence, distance, and action, not arguments, not emotional pleas, not desperate explanations. When you enforce your standard with calm, consistent action, her entire perception of you transforms. She stops seeing you as someone she can control emotionally. She stops seeing you as someone who is always available. She stops seeing you as someone who needs her validation to feel like a man. Instead, she sees you as someone she has to earn, someone she could lose if she doesn't bring her best, someone whose respect actually matters. And this shift, the psychological reversal, is what makes her finally respect you. Most men fail in relationships not because they are weak, but because they don't understand the value of boundaries. They confuse love with tolerance, affection with submission, and kindness with being a doormat. They think being patient means allowing repeated disrespect. They think being loyal means accepting emotional manipulation. They think being understanding means sacrificing their own dignity. But the emotionally disciplined man, the one she ends up respecting, understands that love without boundaries becomes self-destruction. He knows that every time he allows her to talk to him in a way she shouldn't, every time he forgives behavior she didn't apologize for, every time he rewards her coldness with more attention, he teaches her that his respect is optional, his presence is guaranteed, and his standards are negotiable. And a woman cannot respect a man she can negotiate his worth with. She respects strength, not softness, consistency, not chaos, silence over emotional outbursts, discipline over desire. When a man finally realizes this and acts on it, something powerful happens. She stops testing him to see how much he can get away with, and she starts respecting him because she finally knows she can't get away with anything. Respect is built on consequences, not conversations. You don't need to explain your worth. You need to enforce it. A woman will push, test, provoke, and challenge you, not because she wants to break you, but because she wants to see if you can hold your frame. A man who gets triggered, defensive, or emotional every time she tests him loses her respect instantly. A man who stays calm, composed, and centered becomes someone she admires. Women are attracted to masculine confidence, but they respect masculine consistency. When you react emotionally, you give her your frame. When you stay calm, you maintain it. The man she respects is the one who can hear her anger without becoming angry, who can feel her withdrawal without chasing, who can see her attitude without losing his temper. His emotional control shows her that his masculinity is not fragile. It is grounded. She realizes he is not a man she can dominate emotionally, not a man she can manipulate with mood swings, not a man who breaks under pressure. And the moment she realizes this, her whole behavior changes. She becomes more careful with her words, more intentional with her tone, more thoughtful with her actions. Why? Because women only fear losing one type of man, the man who does not fear losing her. Walking away is not about punishment. It is about principle. It is not about making her feel bad. It is about making yourself feel grounded. It is not about showing her she's wrong. It is about showing yourself that you will not betray your own standards just to keep someone. When you walk away from disrespect, you teach her the most important lesson a man can ever teach a woman, that your time, attention, and presence are privileges, not entitlements. And the man who treats his presence like a privilege is the man women respect fiercely. When she knows you can leave, your value rises. When she knows you can stay calm in conflict, your power rises. When she knows you won't break your boundaries, her interest rises. When she knows you won't tolerate manipulation, her behavior improves. Women adjust to the frame of the man who refuses to adjust his standards. This is why the men who are respected are not the men who talk about boundaries. They are the men who enforce them quietly. She will respect you when you stop over texting, over giving, over apologizing, and over explaining. Respect comes from scarcity, not availability. A man who is too available seems bored with himself. A man who is too forgiving seems desperate. A man who stays regardless of behavior seems replaceable. But a man who chooses distance instead of drama, silence instead of yelling, discipline instead of desire, self-control instead of emotional chaos, that man becomes unforgettable. She respects the man who disciplines himself more than he desires her. She respects the man who chooses peace over argument. She respects the man who protects his mission more than he protects her ego. She respects the man who values his time more than her attention. And most importantly, she respects the man who respects himself. If you want to respect, you must stop repeating yourself. Say it once. If she violates it, act. Stop arguing. Stop negotiating. Stop trying to convince her why something hurts you. She already knows. Women are extremely intuitive. They know exactly when they cross the line. The problem isn't that she didn't understand. It's that she wanted to see what you would do. She wanted to see if your words had weight. She wanted to see if your boundaries were real. She wanted to see if she could still influence you emotionally. And when she sees you enforce consequences without anger, without drama, without weakness, that is the moment she elevates you in her mind. She thinks, this man is different. This man has backbone. This man is not like the others. Respect is born from difference. If you react like every other man, she treats you like every other man. But if you act like the rare man who does not fold under pressure, she treats you like the rare man you are. At the end of the day, she will respect you when you do this. Choose yourself. Choose your boundaries. Choose your peace. Choose your self-worth. A man who chooses himself is a man who cannot be controlled, manipulated, or exploited. A man who chooses himself becomes a man she respects, admires, and eventually fears losing. Because deep down, a woman knows one thing. Any man can love her, but very few men have the strength to love her without losing themselves. And the man who keeps himself intact, the man who can love her while keeping his standards, his identity, and his respect, is the man she will respect for life.